Best.Podcast.Ever is sponsored by the Gertzberg Law Firm, a full-service business law firm in Cleveland and Chagrin Falls that's changing the way businesses retain their attorneys. Go to gertzberglaw.com to learn more. While you're there, check out Cover My Six, a complete legal audit of the 6 areas that most often create or prevent business lawsuits and government investigations. Go to covermysix.com to learn how we keep you safe. Enjoy the show.
Ladies and gentlemen, you're about to listen to the best podcast ever recorded.
This is a really great question, Molly, and I happen to be an expert on bladders, so...
Hi, Alex Gertzberg.
Hi, Molly Gebler. How are you?
Oh, my goodness. I feel it's been forever, but I feel like we start the show like that all the time.
It has been a while, though, because the last...
Right? Oh,
you did Restaurant Week podcast
right, you
with...
blew Nellie and I off, which we made comment on our podcast about
Did
that.
I, though?
Well, we kind of feel like we went through the chain of texts, and it was... I think it was it a cancellation or we don't have anybody?
A guest canceled.
I said I need a date
for Restaurant Week.
And then your answer was no, it was we canceled, and I said, "Oh great, I need a date for Restaurant Week." And then you said where or something, and then you said I got plans. And Nellie and I we took note of it was like a 3-second. It was like 3 seconds that you know,
Molly, I feel
we felt
like
blown off.
I feel like, we love each other. Mm-hmm. We're besties. Nellie too. She's my sister. She's your sister.
We're family.
Yeah.
In so many ways.
And living in the past doesn't work for us. We have to think forward. We have to go forward.
I'm also a believer of owning your shit.
Well.
Anyways, I would like to do more of that. The restaurant
on location.
That was really fun.
You guys did great.
And I don't think for those of you who might want to tune into that one, I don't think it was, I think the shout out to the editors. I think it was the sound was great. It wasn't a lot of clinking. I mean, they knew we were coming, so they did put us, they put baby in the corner. And that would be a key.
I think the only thing that I would encourage you and I, to do differently when you're doing those on locations is more pictures of the things that you're describing, because I wanted to see the shrimp cocktail so bad, and I wanted to see everything that they were bringing out.
Can we just go get it?
We could. Okay. We should.
Let's do that.
Speaking of Restaurant Week,
yes.
Huge success, Molly Gebler.
I do think so.
Yeah.
I do. I don't have my feedback yet from all the restaurants, but a huge success. It made a huge. Here's the thing about Restaurant Week: it made a huge impact to the restaurants that get it.
Yeah.
To the restaurants that made significant changes in their menus to attract people to come to them. When somebody has 20 restaurants to choose from, and there's 7 days, those, you have to assume your consumer is smart, so they're going to go with the best deal. So you got to make sure you have the best deal. 2
things about Restaurant Week,
yes.
Molly, if I may.
Did you go to any?
I did. I went to Bull and Bird, and I had the $35 one.
Did you have the chicken?
No, I had the steak, the filet mignon. It was delicious.
Still dreaming about that chicken.
Yeah. So a couple things. So first of all, I applaud you for coming up with Restaurant Week and making it the big deal that it is.
Thank you.
I'm going to go out on a limb here.
Okay.
The nugget that started out in your head and has, how long ago? What, 3 years?
4.
4 years.
4 years.
That has now...
No, that was our 5th year.
Was it?
I think so.
And that has expanded year after year to include more and more restaurants. Mm-hmm. I'm going to go out on a limb and say that you are generating revenue for these restaurants that otherwise would not have been generated. And I'm going to say that it's significant.
I will tell you that, and I think I've said this story when I walked into Hyde Park for the first year. Not that any restaurant is better. Everyone's good in their own way, but it's Hyde Park. I mean, it's probably a 5-star, right? It's a 5-star steakhouse. I mean,
it's
a big deal.
Yeah.
And who would think Little Miss Molly Sunshine here would be able to make an impact on Hyde Park? Well, when I walked into their restaurant, it was the last day we went. This was the first year, and they hand me a menu with our logo on it. I started crying.
Yeah.
And then I further talked to the manager, and they said that it was their best Sunday that they had had, because they can take their numbers and look at the last 3 years on that day during, so they have numbers to compare to. And then this year, I think the thing that made my heart super warm was Capitol Grill. They mentioned Restaurant Week at a radio interview that they were having, and 110 reservations were made like a half an hour after that radio spot aired for Restaurant Week, like specifically for Restaurant Week.
So I really...
So it is making an impact.
Well, and I really appreciate... we talk about this a lot, when we talk about impacting the community, right? You could just do your job. You could be just a director for the chamber and get by without making the impact that you make. But you really make businesses in the chamber more successful, right?
I hope I bring them a little bit of...
Yeah. I mean...
I hope they make their business a little better by being a member.
Yeah.
Do I make your business a little better by being a member?
Sure. Yeah. Yeah, 100%.
Good. Check.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, and we were just talking about this. Like, so for example, for me, one of my favorite things about being a chamber member is the summer concert series, right? And being able to make that my thing and talking about it all the time. And plus it's like there is room for any business in the Chagrin Valley who has some passion for something. In this case, mine is music, right? To make something their own and to just come to you and say, all right, well, Molly, how do I combine what I love and be a good member of the community and help me with business too. That being able to have someone in your chair who hears me and who listens and who then says, okay, I know how to make a big deal out of your business.
That's my favorite part, is getting creative with the businesses and thinking of unique ways to highlight them Yeah.
Well, you're doing it. You're good at
it. Thanks. So it was great. It was a great success. My pants don't. My pants know it's a great success because, I'll tell you what. We were in Blazing Bills was Sunday. That was it was the last day. Mm-hmm. And I didn't think I was going to be able to do it. Like, we ate out every night. Every night it was a 3-course dinner because that's what everyone was offering. I'll tell you, I took one for the team in a big way. And Blazing Bills, that's like my favorite. Like, their ribs are, oh my gosh, amazing. If you haven't been out there, and they're moving.
Remind me, Blazing Bills, is that
Blazing Bills out on 422 by Welshfield Inn.
Oh, yeah.
Welshfield Inn ended up extending their Restaurant Week. They called and said, could we continue it until Tuesday, which they did. But yeah, so Blazing Bills is out there, and the Great Lakes Cheese is right before Blazing Bills.
Yeah.
And I don't know all the details, but they are now extending Great Lakes Cheese. So they purchased the property that Blazing Bills is on. So now Blazing Bills is rebuilding down, before Great Lakes Cheese, all in, walking distance to each other. So they're going to reopen in May. They're open now, but they'll open with a new location in May. And they just have the best ribs that... Are you allowed to eat ribs?
Why wouldn't I be?
Well, Jewish people, they don't eat ribs.
They don't.
Are you not Jewish?
I'm barely Jewish.
Papa G.
I'm a lapsed Jew. No, I think the more observant Jews aren't fans of the pork.
Okay.
Right.
Okay. Right? Yeah.
Yeah, but I'm neither observant nor
Okay, it's
Well, I'm
okay.
just
You don't have
not
to explain. I just wondered.
I love pork.
So
I love bacon on top of my pork.
So we could go to Blazing Bills one day and have ribs. We got a lot of dates set up. We're going to go have shrimp at Bull and Bird. It's phenomenal there, and I know we talked about it on the podcast, but it's so good. So good. And the best twin lobsters I've ever had.
Yeah.
Which, in my opinion, you can't really screw up lobster, but...
Well, you know what else, too, I really like about Bull and Bird is that Gamekeepers was awesome, but it was towards the end, it was very, like, hometowny. And I feel like Bull and Bird classed it up. I feel like they raised it, raised the level there. And the staff there... Like, there's that dude Grant that works there. You know that guy? He's like tall.
Well, and then Keith. Keith is the general manager there.
Okay. I don't know Keith. I know Grant. But they make me feel important when I walk in that door.
But that's Jekyll's as well, I think.
Oh,
I think that's their...
Yeah, that's true.
That's their... And I think if I went to M&ML more often...
Yeah,
I think
you're right.
I think that is what... Shout out to Joe Ciccone and his group that own the Hyde Park group.
Yeah.
They are so good at that. They just are so good at that. I think Burntwood Tavern also is very similar in that... at least for me, anyways, because I do have a history there.
And
I have a chair.
Yeah.
I have to have a ribbon cutting there. I got to write this down. I'm going to have a ribbon cutting.
I think you should not rest until every restaurant in Restaurant Week gives you a chair.
Let me tell you, I deserve one after.
Yeah, for sure.
After Restaurant Week.
Come on, Bull and Bird. Come on, M.
No, my one chair is perfect, but we're going to blow out a red ribbon.
They do have personalized chairs at M Italian.
They
too,
do, but I don't although, I mean, let's be honest with the lobster salad.
You bring a lot of attention to that lobster salad.
It's coming back, I heard, for the spring, maybe. I don't want to, maybe. I don't want to say anything out of, so yeah, Restaurant Week was amazing.
Would it be bad form for me to describe some other restaurants outside the Chagrin Valley that I've frequented over the last weekend?
No.
Okay, good, because I'm gonna.
No, that's
okay. And then I want to hear about your weekend. So Tiffany and I are on a tour of coffee shops. We love going to cafes and reading and writing, which we'll talk about writing in a minute. And just enjoying the atmosphere of old coffee shops, local old ones, right?
I love that.
It's the best. And we're thinking, Tiffany is thinking about putting a blog together.
I was going to say some kind of article or something. I love that.
We do it all the time. We go to coffee shops in Tremont and in Hudson and anything that's not a chain, we go to and we enjoy, and we sit there all afternoon. And then what we do is we go have dinner at a nearby dinner place or bar or restaurant that is also locally owned. So this weekend on Saturday and Sunday, Saturday we went to Burton. Burton has a really cool coffee shop.
Is it the Tea Room?
No, it's called like Four Corners.
Okay.
Or something like that. The word corners is in it. And you know how Burton is like this big square, basically.
It's got four corners in
it. And so there's this one, and it also doubles as an antique store.
Oh,
you would love it.
Bonus.
It is so cool. It's
well, there's a great tea room that Mike Butler, the president of the chamber, he always goes to this tea room in Burton. Maybe it's in Chardon.
Chardon, Burton. It's all Geauga County. So anyway, we went to this Corners place and it was amazing. And
what made it amazing? Tell me why you say it's amazing.
When you walk inside, it seems, well, first of all, it's got to be 200 years old. It's so old. And inside, everything is preserved authentically, right? Down to, the furniture is worn and comfortable and old. And everything smells great in there. And it's so warm and comforting and inviting, right?
It.
And they've got amazing coffee and these really good cookies and muffins and stuff. So we sat there, and As opposed to here's a unique thing about that coffee shop. A lot of coffee shops that you just walk in and it's just one big room. This one is like a mansion. There's just little rooms everywhere scattered around the first floor. So you find your own little room and you sit there and and it's like the lighting is really good, which I appreciate.
I would just be so scared that I would be people watching that. I would get nothing done. Yeah.
You do. Yeah, and the people over there are really, it's a nice cross section of cowboys and Amish people and urban people, and it's every demographic is represented there.
Okay.
So and then we went across the street to this place called Warren's Spirited Kitchen. Have you ever been there?
I don't think so.
Is it possible for people from Burton to join the Chagrin Valley Chamber?
Anybody can join the chamber.
Listen here, Warrens and Four Corners. I'm giving you a major plug right now.
Although they're probably, I would think they probably belong to the Chardon Chamber. I would think.
Could be.
Yeah.
Could be. But on this podcast with my co-host Molly Gebler, right? It was really that restaurant is amazing. It's really
and is
great.
That just like Amish hometown cooking?
No, it was surprisingly modern.
Okay.
You walk in and you think that it's going to be this like rustic old kind of old-timey place like the Corners Cafe we're in. You walk in and it transforms you. It takes you into a modern, but it's this fusion of like old. There was a lot of like old English stuff on the walls and some cowboy stuff on the walls, but then really modern decor also. Okay. Like the lamps, the light fixtures seemed really modern to me, and the bar was really modern. It was just it's a really cool atmosphere there.
Check that out. There is a cute mom and poppy diner in Chardon. Right on the square there. I can't think of what the name is, but for a good burger and fries, that's a great place.
I've been there.
Yeah.
So anyway, we did that on Saturday, and then on Sunday we did the same thing at Garrettsville. Have you ever done that? Have you ever gone to Garrettsville?
I mean, I've driven through Garrettsville.
It is like the Old West over there.
I just mailed something to someone that won a gift card to Garrettsville today.
It looks all the fronts of the stores look just like Chagrin Falls, like the Old West.
Would you like if you're? Would that be like East Washington? Just keep going and going and going and going.
You have to take 422 to Route 44, and then you take 44 south for like 10 miles, and then you're in Garrettsville.
Okay.
Really cool coffee shop there, and then we crossed the street to eat food at the bar there, and I can't remember the names of either of the two, but there's only one really cool coffee shop as far as I know. So you go there, and then right across the street is this restaurant. And we had another great like Sunday afternoon experience like we did on Saturday.
I love that. I think she should write, or one of you should do. Yeah, because
like a cafe review website.
Like coffee is what the number one addicted something out there.
Yeah. Well,
I think that'd be a cool little.
We have been questioning whether we've become, and we're not married obviously, but whether we've become just like a boring old couple who likes doing that kind of stuff.
No, a boring old couple would stay in one place and go to the same shop every time. You guys are adventurous. And
thank you, Molly.
Going to different places. I love that.
Yeah.
See, I'm too much of, it's not a food snob, but like when I'm I'm not a trier. So I need to make sure that I go somewhere where
that's not what I heard, Molly.
I have tried. Trust me. I need to make sure that I'm going to enjoy it and eat it. And I if I don't, one bite and I could be done. So I don't know if I could just hip hop around. I'd have to like check the menu first. And sounds like you guys are just free.
I think that part of it for us is exploring it, knowing that it can either suck or be really cool.
Have you done Edison's Pizza in Tremont?
Yes.
Oh my gosh.
Oh, they put crack in there.
Oh,
it's addictive.
My gosh. Yeah. What time are they open? Could I run there right after?
We went to a coffee shop there called Civilization.
Okay, that's just such a cute area. Such a cute area.
That place used to be an old pharmacy that they converted into
a coffee shop.
Yeah.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, it's really cool.
And here's a funny thing about Chagrin versus Tremont or whatever. You know, we went to, I drove through Tremont. I don't even know why I was there, not that long ago. And it was after a big snowfall. They don't give a shit about cleaning up the street or they plow the thing right on parking spots. And if you can't park on the street, that's like, you know, and I think back to here and all our parking situations here and think, you know, if we think we have it bad, we may want to check out some other cities because
they don't care.
I think we probably have it better than we think we have it.
In Garrettsville, it's Cellar Door Cafe, and then the place we ate dinner was Main Street Grill, and both were phenomenal.
You can't go wrong with. Is that water?
Yeah, there's this river that crosses, and it looked really cool, but we didn't.
We're looking at a map, folks, just in case. Farm to table.
So good.
And craft beer in a rustic creekside tavern with outdoor deck seating.
Yeah.
Nice.
It was fantastic.
Huh.
Yeah.
Okay. And now that John and I are empties, you know, we should be doing that. We should be.
Well, we keep talking about going on a double date.
Let's do it.
Yeah.
We'll
do it. Maybe next week. Unless somebody, drops babies. Let's talk about it, Molly.
Twin alert. So,
what's going on?
It's so funny because every week she's seeing a specialist and her regular doctor. So she does 2 appointments, both with an ultrasound. She's having major Braxton Hicks every 5, she's having these contractions every 5 minutes, but she's not dilated or anything like that.
Yeah,
so
but
they're Braxton Hicks.
But that's the precursor, right?
I think so.
Those things don't just happen for nothing.
No.
I think some babies are about to come out.
I do.
I mean, that's going to screw up my March Madness poll because I chose March 15th.
I did the 17th. I did St. Patrick's Day.
Sam.
I know.
Just hang on for a little longer,
excited.
Sam.
I'm super pumped and excited. I can't wait.
I bet Sam's ready.
She's ready. She's, it's just starting to the breathing and the laying on her side and they're kicking. She sent me a video that I'll have to ask her if it'd be okay to share. It's just of her stomach.
Moving around like aliens are in there.
Aliens. Yeah. And then Mary she's ready. I don't know if she's in the canal, but she's head down, she's ready. John, every appointment, he's either up, and the next appointment he's down. And the next appointment he's facing towards the back. And the next one he's facing, he is. You know what he's doing?
He's building suspense. You go, John. Keep it up, buddy.
Yeah, so we're excited. We're so. Good. I did have a dream the other night that I was holding them.
Oh my goodness!
I know. I just can't wait. I just cannot wait. So that's the update. And then another update on my younger. She just did Fashion Week in New York City with ChristianSiriano again.
Goodness.
She ran the door, which was quite the when you've got people coming in and trying to get in and doing whatever they can to get in. The door is a tough place. So fingers crossed that that she'll get offered a job from him.
Yeah. So what's Emily's deal? Is she?
So she's starting to put out resumes. So if you are listening and you are in the fashion industry, give the podcast a call because she needs a job. I mean, I don't want her to get stuck here. So I don't even want her to start anything here.
Stuck where?
Here in Cleveland. I mean, you know how it is. If you start something, and I keep explaining to her, right now, especially with their generation, they go through so many jobs. They hop to one to the other, whatever works for them and is good for them. So I said, this isn't her career necessary. It doesn't have to be her end-all, be-all position. Yeah. She comes from John's been in the same position for a super, super long time. I've reinvented myself but I was with my dad for 20 some years. So I just keep saying to her, you just need to get there.
Yeah. But you know what, Molly, if I may.
Yes, please.
If I may.
Please.
I would say that I would not have anxiety about starting here if it was a good opportunity.
Right,
Because for the reason that you just said, it's going to be temporary.
Right.
And I don't think that will hold her back for something down the road. And I would say, I mean, there's definitely a school of thought that says, you know what, even if you have to work for free, attach yourself to a shop or a person, which she's kind of doing now.
Right. That's how we thought of
right?
it as.
And just stick around because other opportunities will come up. But if there's a good one here,
right?
She'll, because here's what can happen too, right? Is she starts something here, which granted is not the fashion capital of the world, but if she starts here, she's still going to be looking for opportunities all over the world. Paris,
and it could be headquartered here.
Yeah,
she could be traveling. That would be her perfect job. I think is to stay home, live off of mommy and daddy, make a salary, and travel everywhere for buying or something. But you're kind of here. Then you get she could see her niece and nephew but then still, because I think she needs to travel the world. Yeah. But I don't necessarily think she needs to live around the world, if that makes sense. So
yeah,
I know she'll be amazing whatever she does.
Agreed.
But she had a good weekend in New York City again. So shout out to ChristianSiriano.
Yeah, man.
Who I want to do a huge shout out to him because he dresses women of all sizes, and have we talked about that? I just love that. I just love it. Yeah. I'm sorry. Being a woman of a certain size, it's tough. I mean, there are not a lot of options for you.
Yeah.
And designers are not friendly to that. And shout out to him for, I was watching the Grammys last night and he had dressed a few people there. And they rocked it. I think if a woman feels gorgeous in a clothing, no matter what size she is, then she deserves that. She deserves to feel beautiful.
I think as a general proposition, women have way too much stress relating to things like fashion, weight, makeup, just our male-driven society until this point, right, has elevated women of a certain shape and, just body type and look over those that don't have that.
And I think it's because I think that everything is a pendulum, and I think because if you go way, way back, large women were of beauty and the art, that's all they were. And then you kind of get through the 60s and 70s where skinny was, twiggy, and the models were like that. I think it's coming back. I think we're accepting now.
In the 90s, it was pretty grungy too.
Oh my gosh,
right?
yeah.
So,
but that was a style. It wasn't necessarily the body type.
Well, at least when it comes to fashion, though.
Right. Like I just don't want to wear muumuus anymore. or don't, that's just not an option it shouldn't have to be the only option for women. It just shouldn't be. And I wish I was confident. there are women out there that are larger and they're tucking in their shirts and they're wearing a gorgeous belt. And I think, gosh, some of it is on the woman itself. To be able to rock an outfit that is out there. But kudos to him for doing that and in his fashion show. There were larger women in his fashion show. So that's just awesome.
Speaking of fashion, do you know that...
And I'm not kissing ass, so you hire my daughter.
Come on, Christian. Hire Emily already. Come on. She's good.
She is.
She takes care of business.
He knows that. I feel like he knows that.
Yeah.
I feel he knows that.
In Argentina, where, as you know, we lived for a month.
Yes.
The the huge fashion trend over there right now is giant platform soles on like tennis shoes and
I hate to break it to you, that's here.
Is it here too?
Yeah.
Oh no, we don't see it. I'm telling you, it's every woman's shoe. Every woman down there, not so much men, but every woman you saw on the streets of Buenos Aires had like 2, 3, 4-inch soles on their shoes. I'm wondering if they
got it, if they're behind, because we've had that recently.
I've never seen so much.
Oh yeah.
No, I've never seen so many. Like it was every woman had that. Yeah, it was crazy. That's crazy. I didn't realize that was. I know
we've had it.
I know
like
that
it's like a tennis shoe, but it's the flat, but it's a
giant, like a real.
Yeah, Adidas, I believe, was big with that.
Yeah, but
what was the word? It wasn't Adidas. Who was guiding us through that? It's not Adidas. It's.
I don't know.
Remember, because I think you Googled it. So, yeah. So, speaking of women, and I'd like to segue into my karaoke night.
Please.
Because we had a karaoke night Tuesday of last week to raise money for the Valley Arts Center. And it was a women's night, and it was all chocolate, and we had chocolate martinis. And
were men not allowed?
It wasn't that men were not allowed. It was
just discouraged from attending.
A women's networking event. Got to be careful. Got to be careful in 2019. So it was karaoke, and we just had. But it goes to your point where women just sometimes need a opportunity to just let loose, no judgment. So we made sure in the emails and in everything that people knew that you can come in here. It was going to be a safe zone. So Jess and I, in our brilliant wisdom, decided that we needed to set that tone for the evening, that we really needed these ladies to know that everything is allowed and possible. So we started the evening off singing Shallow.
What's that?
By Lady Gaga and Bradley Cooper. And we nailed it the way we wanted to nail it.
Who's we?
Jessica and I.
Oh, okay.
So we started the evening off, but I feel like that allowed people to say, oh, okay, so that's the level.
Is there a video of this anywhere?
There is a video that no one will ever see.
I demand, Jessica.
Oh man!
I demand that you post this video immediately.
There were notes. Let me tell you, but I think it just opened those gates of, you know what, I can go up there and see. I'm not going to be good, but either were they, and they got up and did it, and that's what we wanted. And so after that, it was nonstop of requests, and we did it. Not karaoke style. We did it just like Bradley Cooper and Lady Gaga were our backup singers. So we chose the videos with words, but they were the real videos. So at least you had them helping you out. Lot of fun. I highly recommend.
What were the other songs that people sang?
A lot of Motown.
Okay.
A lot of Motown. Some Christi, George.
Well, she's an amazing singer.
Oh, she's amazing. I shouldn't have let her sing. She's actually my guest on Countertop Time.
Excellent.
So she sang some Pat Benatar and rocked. I mean,
did anyone sing "I Will Survive"?
No,
because that's isn't that required at women's karaoke?
Somebody sang. Someone sang "It's Raining Men."
Of course. That's the other one.
Again, we did it to the video with lyrics on the video, and I had never seen that video. And I am telling you, listeners, if you want to enjoy yourself, you need it is border porn.
Video for "It's Raining Men"?
Yes. By the Weather Girls. You have to because I think someone else sings it too. I am telling you, folks,
I will not be watching that.
It was amazing. So what else you got, Alex? I unfortunately quickly have to turn my phone on. I have to be careful with the babies. I have to look, but
have twins been born in the last couple of minutes, Molly?
No.
All right.
No, we're safe. We're going back on mode.
You you and I are both, we have something else in common, Molly, other than being awesome. We are both working on book projects. True or false?
True. I am in it.
So without disclosing anything substantive, anything about the substance of what you are creating, would you like to give us an update on the general status of your book project?
Sure.
Unless you'd like to disclose substantive information.
I'm gonna keep it a surprise. Okay. The book is being illustrated right now.
Lovely.
It's done.
By whom?
By Lily. I will leave her name out because she's a minor. She is a sophomore.
That's awesome.
At Chagrin Falls High School.
Good.
And she interviewed. She came in. I knew in my head how I wanted the visual to look. And she is so... I probably could have had about 5 other different ways that I wanted the book to look, and she still would have been my illustrator because she is so diverse in her art.
Yeah.
And risk take and so it's been super fun to just the first kind of month was I have 4 books that are coming out this year. So
whoa,
I know it's very
you're
exciting.
So prolific.
It's very
My
exciting.
Goodness.
So the first step was creating the characters because the characters will be in all the books in some way.
Isn't it ironic that you who read no books are writing 4 of them?
Let's be super clear. It's a children's book. I can handle a children's book.
Oh my goodness.
So just the first meeting when I had shared the characters and just kind of some ideas that I had for them and but I wanted her to make them her characters. So I wanted her to fall in love with them as well because she's going to be invested in this. And it was like she literally went into my mind and pulled out exactly what I wanted them to. I mean, she just follows instruction very well. And I'm so excited. So we created a timeline for all 4 books, and when they'll drop. And she is on it. And, like that day I'm getting a text of, the updated revision or whatever. And so she's amazing. I'm so excited.
Who is writing the words that go into these books?
I have written the book.
Okay, so they're all written already.
They're written, correct, except one.
Okay.
But it's all written. I just haven't sat down and finished it up. And then one of the 4 has been edited and is ready to roll, but that's one that's not coming out till fall. Because they're all timed because of subject.
Are you self-publishing?
I am self-publishing. Well, yeah, yes.
Why?
Right now, I'm choosing between two different ways of doing it. Eryka Parker has been guiding me through a lot of it.
That's I was going to suggest that.
So she's been. I just got off the phone today with a phone conversation with her.
But why self-publish? Why not go with get an editor?
I should say self-publish. I have an editor.
Oh, you have okay.
Yeah, I should. I'm really not quite sure what that means. I have an editor. I have a printer. The printer is a publishing company.
Okay, so you're not okay. I understand.
But right now, she gave me another suggestion. To go through the Kindle.
Yeah.
So now I have to kind of look at those 2 and see what would be best.
Yeah.
Best way to do it. So these books, especially 1 or 2 of them, have been on my head for a couple of years now. So it's super exciting to just get it done. Molly. And the editor is a Chagrin Falls grad who graduated with my daughter who does editing. And
so one thing that I would think to do it sounds like this is a very local project, right?
That it is.
I think one thing you might consider doing is going to that Fireside Bookshop.
Already on it.
Go to that one section. There are books written by Chagrin Falls people about Chagrin Falls. I would look at who their publisher is.
Yeah. I think a lot of them are the one that I originally was talking to. Who we have a great, you've used him. We have a great relationship with him. He taught it in college. He was a professor in that. It's just now that she has shared this other way, it almost seems like it's going to be a little bit more synced to be able to glide right into Amazon. I mean, we're definitely staying local with the Fireside.
Right.
But there's also people who don't live here that grew up here that I think will want to get their hands on it. And I have to check if Fireside has an online book. If you could purchase online, then I wouldn't. I'd be happy to keep all my business at Fireside.
And then obviously,
but I don't want to be shipping them all. That's
that's what self-publishing means, I think, right? Although you can get, I know that for a fact that you can get other companies to print and ship for you, and it's still self-publishing. Right. And then Molly, make sure that you have very good legal documents.
Yeah. So yes.
Between you and each of these parties, your editor, your publisher. I mean, even what's her name, Lily?
Correct.
Yeah. So she can't sign her own contracts, but her parents.
Her mom's on it. Yes.
So you're gonna want to do that.
But I want to have a conversation with you, but I don't want a 50,000 page.
It's okay. We don't have to. We can keep it short.
I have one that I made up that I want to show you. That's just showing the. I'm sure there's other things that need to be in there, but showing what we have agreed upon.
Well, that's good. That's good.
Yeah. And you.
So
you're not writing a children's book.
No. So what I do when Tiffany and I go to the cafes is I write, and I started when I was in Argentina, and I have been chipping away at it now for about 2 months, and I love it. I love writing it, and I've decided that the best way for me to get it out into the world is by not thinking about publication and not thinking about editing or any of that stuff. And I read when we were down there, I read On Writing by Stephen King. I think I talked about that, and I have mirrored his process, which I see. It's not just his process; it's a lot of authors, which is that in your first draft of your book, never edit. Just get it out of you, right? And just sit down and write, and don't go backwards at all, right? Not even a few pages, except to refresh your memory about what you wrote. Just keep the output going. And I've been doing that a few pages at a time during the week. On the weekends, when we go to the cafe, like I did 15 pages this weekend, and my attention span is such that everything has to be in chunks, in very discrete chunks. Like a chapter might as well be the book for me. And,
gotcha.
Right? So I just think about this as a series of short stories, each of which is a chapter, and that is the entire thing. I don't care about what happened before.
Because you're not scaring yourself.
Right, exactly. And so getting into that, and it takes all the pressure off. Like I'm not even thinking about what it's going to look like at the end. So the process is that Stephen King uses, and which a lot of other authors do, is they get it all out of their body in the first draft, just all stream of consciousness. And the goal is quantity, not quality, right? And he calls it a behind closed doors process. You can't talk about the substance of it. You can't talk about what's in it at all.
With other people, you mean?
Yes, with any other human being, right? And you can't let anybody look at it, and you just need to get it all out of your body, right? Then when you're completely satisfied that there isn't anything more that you could possibly say about this subject matter, then you go back with a red pen and you edit. And that takes sometimes as long as writing the thing itself.
Sure.
He described it as archaeologists excavating dinosaur bones, right? The story is there. You just have to get all the sand out from around it, right? And so in that second draft, that editing, that's all you with the door slightly open. Now you can talk a little bit about it and just get other people's ideas. But even then, it's only slightly open. Once you've done that completely, you could either go back and do it once more or let a few trusted souls from your life take a look at it. You do that 2, 3, 4 times, and then you send it to the editor.
Yeah.
So I have really enjoyed just getting it out of my head.
Is this personal? Like, can you even share that or no? Are you making this all up as you're going, which is a whole nother...
Yeah, I couldn't say.
Okay.
I couldn't say. I can tell you this. I'm really enjoying it. Once I've taken the pressure... Because I've started numerous book projects in my life. This is probably like the 10th or 15th one. I've never had as much fun doing it, knowing that all I'm doing is emptying my head out onto the page and just writing. And it's crazy, Molly, because we'll sit there and I enter and I'll put my headphones in and I feel like
what are you listening to?
It's all nothing with lyrics.
That's me.
Yeah, and on YouTube there's all these really good
the studying. Did you ever listen to classical for studying?
On Spotify or on YouTube?
It's actually on Pandora, but I think YouTube has it as well.
They all have. Yeah, I like lately. I've been listening to these like mixes of Middle Eastern and reggae and jazz and funk that they have on there. Like there's this band called Thievery Corporation, and if you put in Thievery Corporation and then YouTube gives you the option of creating a radio station out of it, put it on that, and it's just a whole bunch of yeah. It's Pandora, basically, or Spotify. Anyway, I have gotten into this zone with at these coffee shops that we go to where I'll just put the headphones in, I'll start writing, and an hour and a half will go by, and it's 5 pages of just thoughts,
right,
that are somewhat following and tracking this storyline, and. I just get into this state of flow that I really enjoy.
It's fun.
It is fun.
Yeah. That mine's a little less intense because, it's probably a 15-page.
You don't want to scare the children.
3-liner.
Right.
But when I read it or when I go over it, I'm always reading it in a voice that I would be reading to a preschooler or something.
Let me say one more thing about what you and I are doing. So before I read that Stephen King On Writing book, I started reading, and I'm still practicing the things in this book called The Artist's Way by Julia Cameron. And she is this very well-known writing coach, but also a novelist and a screenplay writer. She's written a ton of things. And the whole point of this book is that everybody has creativity inside of them, and that our job as humans is to create new things and to make ideas come out of our bodies and manifest themselves into something, whether it's on paper or a sculpture or artwork or whatever. Everyone has creativity inside of them, and most of us walk through life stifled and just kind of following these paths that we need to follow to make money and to put food on the table.
Because they don't think they have it,
or because we were told as a kid, just stay in your lane, don't do anything crazy, and so this book, The Artist's Way, it's a chapter and then exercises, and there's 12 of them, and it's supposed to take 12 weeks, and I'm taking way too long at it, but I think that you and I definitely have, but a lot of people, when we want to create, we're tapping into this evolutionary urge that we all have as humans to create something. And it feels good when you do it, right? I mean, you feel amazing, right? When you do it. And sometimes I regret not doing it sooner, or at least not finishing what I started sooner. But it is, I definitely feel like I'm tapping into that when I'm writing. Do you feel like you're tapping into some, like need to create when you write and when you do that stuff?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. When people say a creative person, I think sometimes people think like art or, there's just so many forms of creativity. Like if you asked me 10 years ago if I was a creative person, I would have said no.
Yeah.
I am, but I'm more of a,
it's kind of what you do at the chamber too. You create a lot. There's a lot of creative output that comes out of Molly
I would say
Gebler
I'm very out of the box and open-minded when it comes to creativity.
Well, your ADD helps too.
Yeah. See, that's why I don't want to take medicine.
Yeah. It's okay. I mean,
that's why I don't want to take any medicine. Well, it's exciting. Yeah. It's exciting. And what's cool about this podcast is, although this
is a great example of that. Actually,
don't know if the listeners are, but it's been able to, another thing about doing something is putting it down, getting it down on paper. I'm going to finish my book, and now you have that. Crap, I've got to finish that book.
Yeah.
Or like the Pixar guy wrote in his yearbook, I'll see you at the Oscars.
Yeah.
If you put it out there, and I think with this podcast, it makes us accountable for things.
Right. This seems to me to be a perfect opportunity to take a break.
Perfect.
Molly. So let's do that and come back in 2 shakes of a lamb's tail, Molly.
Nice.
All right, folks, we'll be right back. Hey, folks. Thanks for listening to our podcast. I hope you've been enjoying it. I wanted to take a minute to tell you about Cover My 6. For my fellow veterans out there and for those of you in law enforcement, you already know what Cover My 6 means. And for the rest of you out there, it means cover my butt. And that's what we do for our clients. I've been litigating business cases for many years, and here's what I've learned about them. First, they're not fun for my clients. Even when lawyers knock it out of the park for them, business owners and professionals in litigation find it stressful, distracting, time-consuming, and expensive. Second, I believe almost all business lawsuits and investigations are totally preventable. Third, almost every business lawsuit and investigation has focused on some combination of 6 key relationships. Those with customers, vendors, employees, shareholders, insurance companies, and technology. Knowing these 3 things, we created Cover My 6 to optimize those 6 areas for businesses of all sizes. We create and facilitate the company's key documents, and we optimize their policies and practices in those 6 areas so that their owners and employees can focus their time and attention and money where they should, on making and selling their products and growing their business, not on lawyers and courtrooms and lawsuits. So go to covermy6.com to learn more about this service. I'm really proud of it, and there's nothing else out there that's like it. Our clients love it too. They get security and peace of mind from it, and I know you will too. Go to covermy6.com to learn more. And we're back.
We are. So, is it me or do bladders have eyes and brains? This is why I ask.
Can you give a little more context to that, Molly, please?
I'm going to. So, you have to go to the bathroom, and it's not urgent whatsoever. Okay? So, you're making your way towards the restroom. And I would say maybe the minute you see the door of the restroom, it is like it becomes an absolute urgency to
right,
get into
right.
the bathroom. And by the time you open the door, get in the stall, wipe the urine off the toilet, put your thing down, and all the things you got to do before you go to the bathroom as a woman.
Right. As some women, actually,
I'm literally squeezing my legs together, but 3 seconds ago it was not urgent. So does your bladder think and know, oh my gosh, I'm so close to the restroom, I can start?
This is a really great question, Molly, and I happen to be an expert on bladders. So
I was going to say we may have to bring a urologist in, but obviously we don't.
Well, I'm an expert on small bladders because I have one.
Okay.
And
are there different, is that true? Are there different sizes of bladders?
Oh, that's another good question.
You know that my bladder is different than your bladder because my ureter has been cut so many times that the last time it was cut, they had to cut my bladder and flap it up so that it could reach the teeny tiny ureter.
What do you mean it was cut so many times?
Yeah, I've had like 14 surgeries of reconstruction of my ureter. Yeah, that's
Shut
why
up.
I only have one kidney that works to its full
What is wrong with
capacity.
your system down there? I don't understand.
My ureter would close off. It started when I was like 7. I had
Is that
right? It started at 7, and I had reconstructive surgery when I was 4, not 7. I was 4.
And you don't know what caused that?
Crystallizing or something. It's not a kidney stone. It literally crystallizes so that the ureter shuts off. So then the urine refluxes. It's between the bladder and the kidney. So then it pinches, and then it can't go down the bladder, so it refluxes back to the other kidney, and then everything gets infected because it's urine that really needs to get out. So I had the reconstructive surgery when I was 4, and then when I was pregnant with Sam, I think I was like 6 months pregnant, and I thought I was having a miscarriage because everything hurt, my back hurt, and I was tumbled down in pain, and the ureter again, I don't know, went together, crystallized together. So because I was pregnant, there was nothing they could do at that point. So they had to put a tube in my back with no anesthesia.
Shut up. Is that true?
Localized anesthesia, but no, because I was pregnant. And I had to have a pee-pee bag, as my girls call it, hanging out my back to drain that kidney. And
I'm shaking my head, listeners.
And then they said they fixed it after Sam was born. They chopped off that part that was crystallized and then reinserted it back into the thing. And then I got pregnant with Emily, and the same thing happened.
Gosh, you've had a lot of bladder issues.
Yeah.
I've had none of that happen to me, but
you have
I've got the smallest bladder on the planet.
Yeah, let's be clear. He has a small bladder.
That's correct, people. So it's interesting.
But you know what they say about a guy with a small bladder.
Who runs to the bathroom a lot. When I was, I actually, when I was in college, I had drank a lot of beers, and I was with a group of friends who were being harassed by some townie police officers in Oxford, Ohio, right at Miami. And they stopped us and started questioning us because somebody, I think, was being accused of like vandalizing something. I did not do that, but we had to stand there, and I had drank so much beer that
this wasn't one of your Depends parties that you said you had?
No, but I had to hold it they questioned us for like a good half hour.
Oh,
right. And I'd already broken the seal, talk about urgency, which probably has something to do. It's probably the same kind of neurological thing that you're talking about, which we'll come back to in a second.
Yeah,
I'm convinced that my small bladder issues date back to that day when I had to just hold it, and I don't know, there wasn't any place to go. I almost.
Did you just pee your pants?
I almost did.
There's been many a times that I peed my pants.
Did you really?
Yes.
Well, so let's get back to Wait,
your bladder knowing.
Wait, I'm sorry. Let's back. Have any of those times been recently?
No.
Okay.
Now, did I tell I know I told the story about
You did.
Kmart. Yeah, about peeing my pants at
yeah,
Kmart. Yes, and that bitch person that worked there said she was going to go get me another pants, and she never came back.
That's right. You want to go back and listen to, I think that was 2 episodes ago, folks.
Oh, that was a while.
Was
my
it?
gosh, I think that was a while ago. I don't know.
So here, I do have a theory though.
Yeah, tell.
So I think what it is that it's not your.
You just get relaxed.
It's your brain.
Oh.
Your brain.
Brain's controlling.
Your brain, when it sees you getting closer and closer to the bathroom, knows that pleasure is ahead, right?
It probably releases that. It makes you relax. It says, "Oh my gosh, we've almost made it. You can stop clenching your legs together." There are times, I swear to you, that I am.
Yeah.
We call it in our house doing the pee-pee dance.
Yeah.
Where your legs are crossed, scooting to get to the toilet. Because
what sucks the most though isn't when you're running down the hall, it's when you're in an elevator.
Oh my gosh.
Right? That is the worst.
Well, I almost lost it here when I came here today because that freaking key doesn't really work.
Oh,
and
yeah.
I'm
Have to
like,
take it out a notch.
oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. Oh, we
Do you
digress.
think, well, here's the.
It's
I'm
a good
convinced-
conversation.
But I'm convinced that most weird, personal, physical phenomena come from some evolutionary reason. Like, the first thing that comes to mind is that, a million years ago when we were hunters and gatherers in the forest, right? Like, it had to have been some sort of benefit for you to go. I don't know.
I think back in those days, they just peed.
Right.
They just
maybe
peed
what
and
it
walked,
is maybe
like
what,
animals.
Well, but I think you didn't want to. I think you didn't want to go where you slept because that attracted. Ooh, maybe that's what it is. Because I think that attracted predators. If you peed in your own, hut or
I
whatever,
would think that would keep predators away.
I don't know. God, we're such idiots, Molly. There's an answer here.
I know. I don't
The
know.
thing of
I
it
think
is, like, if we were doing just like a regular radio show like 15 years ago, we'd be like, stay tuned next time when we have Dr.
Right,
Urologist.
because we
But
can't
now,
Google.
You just Google
Well,
it.
I mean, think of there are other times in life where there's an urgency about to happen, and if you think of something else, like a football game, for instance, that urgency at that particular time might go away, or it might postpone whatever's about to happen. I think it's very much like that. If we use that thought process,
I bet you're right. I bet it's related.
if we use that thought process as we're headed to the bathroom and start thinking of the football game,
For sure. You're 100%
then
right.
your mind is away from urinating or other things.
You're totally right about that.
So I'm just going to start thinking. It obviously wouldn't be a football game for me, but
I've heard people say that when you got to pee really bad, they say cross your legs and think of the desert.
okay. I have literally prayed to my mother, Mom, please don't let
Make
me
it
pee
stop.
in the middle of Neiman Marcus.
Yeah.
Is there a Neiman Marcus anymore?
I don't know.
Yeah.
I also wonder if that's related to the fact that you wake up right before your alarm is about to go off.
Yeah.
I know that has something to do with circadian rhythms.
Wow.
Have you ever heard of that? Circadian
I
rhythms?
have not.
It's your automatic clock.
Okay.
But
I mean, there are people whose automatic clocks are way stronger. Like my dad, John, I would think John probably wouldn't even have to set an alarm.
Well, no, but what's weird is that this concept, the circadian rhythm concept, works even when you set your alarm for a different time than usual.
Right.
So, like, I'll wake up every day on my own at 6 a.m. without an alarm clock. If I set it to 5:30, I on my own wake up at 5:28. That never happens to you?
I could just sleep forever.
You don't want that. You want to wake up.
Yeah, no, I don't want to wake up.
Anywho, all right, Molly, we've covered a lot. We talked about bladders, alarms.
Why did I write ribbon cutting on my piece of paper?
For your chair at Burntwood.
Yeah. I got to schedule that. Dave Joyce said, I want Dave Joyce at the ribbon cutting.
All right. That makes sense.
Right?
Speaking of ribbon cuttings and awards.
Yes.
You've got annual awards coming up.
Yes. We just announced today who our speaker is.
Who is it?
Our speaker is JamesMaddio. JamesMaddio is an actor. He's shared the stage with names. You might know a few of them. Leonardo DiCaprio.
I know Leo.
In Diaries of Basketball Diaries. He has shared the stage or the screen. The big screen, with Dustin Hoffman and Hook.
I call him D-Hoff. Go
Yep.
ahead.
Band of Brothers. So I don't know who was in that. Tom Hanks. Was Tom Hanks in Band of Brothers?
No.
Mark Wahlberg. He's not in Band of Brothers. Mark Wahlberg's in other movies.
This dude's an actor.
This dude's an actor. He's great, from Brooklyn. If you Google him, you will totally...
What's his name?
JamesMaddio. MADIO.
MADIO. And this is for the Business Awards.
Correct.
Your annual
awards. It's different this year because the Chagrin Cinema has made so many wonderful changes to their theater. If you go up to images, I think you'll like.
I've seen this cat
before.
Yeah. So when is the
it's March 20th.
March 20th.
And you need to get your tickets ASAP because it's going to sell out. We have to go from 225 people that we had last year to 150 because it's all based on chairs in the theater because the cinema has done great work. I don't know if you've been there lately to the Chagrin Cinema. We just went last night. We saw Dirty Dancing on the big screen. And you know what? I saw it at that theater how many years ago?
Is that right?
Yeah. So we went. So because of the recliners, that reduced the seating. So we will be in a back theater, not in recliners. I don't want people snoring during my interview with JamesMaddio.
That's where I saw him. He was in Hook.
Yes, he
was
the
kid.
Little boy. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. He was like one of the main little boys in Hook.
Yeah, so we're super excited to have him. Then we'll give our Business of the Year. You can vote for Business of the Year right now, actually, at CVCC.org. And our 4 nominees are Hungry Bee.
Awesome.
They're all Bainbridge. All 4 businesses are Bainbridge.
Former guest of the podcast,
yes.
Kim McCune.
Mazzlos Fresh Market.
Excellent.
Naturepedic Organic Mattresses.
Excellent.
And the 4th one is the Neighborhood Office.
Oh, wow.
So you can go and vote one
vote
per person. And it ends February 28th. And then we will award the winner at the annual awards.
I love all 4 of those businesses.
I do too.
And I will withhold my endorsement of any of them.
Yes.
I was the Business of the Year. I was the member of the year. I was the member of the year last year, which was a huge honor.
Yes.
I still have my Oscar.
You will
from
be
that.
presenting
That was awesome.
the member. We're doing that's new this year. And I just thought that would be something
that is
kind
a cool
of fun.
thing.
Yeah, so we'll introduce you, and then you will.
Oh, I'm honored.
Introduce the business or the member of the year.
Those are all solid choices.
I think so too. So we had over, I think, 12 nominees.
Yeah.
And then they got whittled down. The executive board selected the top 4.
Okay.
And it was basically we just can't have 14 out there being voted on.
Yeah. That's great, though.
So, yeah, very excited. And then we'll give our Nonprofit of the Year award and the Chamber Member of the Year award. And Burntwood Tavern is doing the food again this year.
Excellent.
And Floh Vodka will be mixing up a specialty awards drink and red carpet and possibly valet. All the fun stuff.
Yeah.
Star-studded.
You really do a good job with that annual deal,
love
man.
Planning it. But it's different this year because of the babies. And I'm trying to get everything locked up and solid so that so the babies can come and I'll know that it'll be, I mean, I will still come unless the babies are born that day, but
I've got a feeling that these babies are going to be featured prominently in the awards
you think
ceremonies.
They're coming?
By the way, when you said earlier that John is constantly switching positions,
yes,
I know exactly which position he's in right now.
Do you?
Yeah, I want to know what it is.
Yeah,
the fetal position.
Gosh, he'll be here all night, folks. All night with the jokes.
Silly.
Oh my goodness. So what have you been binging? Oh, first of all, before we talk about that, your boyfriend stopped over at my office.
Can you be
today.
more specific, please, Molly?
That's true. You have a lot. Paul Marnechek.
Councilman Paul Marnechek?
Future president.
Soon to be council president Paul Marnechek?
Yes, he had a meeting in town and popped over just to hug and love me. And I realized we didn't take our selfie, which makes me super sad right
now. With you and Paul?
Yeah. But yeah, he said to say hello.
I think that I just might buy property in North Royalton just so I can vote for Paul Marnechek.
Nice.
And then I'll sell it immediately.
Nice.
Yeah. I mean, well, we've got a fair number of listeners now across Northeast Ohio, and I'm sure that North Royalton is represented there. Folks, if you live in North Royalton, do yourselves a favor.
Yes.
You're going to want to vote for P Marn.
Yeah.
Right. Vote for Paul Marnechek.
P Marn. Let's get T-shirts made that say P Marn.
P Marn. He needs a better nickname. He needs a better.
Oh my goodness.
I don't know. Let's come up with one.
Yeah, he was looking sharp as always.
Check yourself with Paul Marnechek. I don't know. I don't know what a good slogan would be, but he is one of my favorite people on the planet because I, like many of us, including you, Molly, I think, have turned a bit cynical with politics, and with negative politics and with just the gridlock that is constantly out there whenever we try to get anything done. And there are people who've been on this podcast, Paul being one, Carl Mayersh from our last episode is another. I mean, there are people who, when you sit down and you talk to them, you just know that they're problem solvers first, and drama actors and soundbite deliverers never, right? And I just don't get a sense that our elected officials have that equation, and Paul's got that equation. Yeah. He's a problem solver first. And he cares. And so I personally, Are you
endorsing him?
Well, clearly I'm endorsing him, but I just want him to go way beyond North Royalton.
To a position that you can vote for.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
And where he can do much more good than he's going to do in North Royalton. He is going to do a ton for that city. He already is as council member. He's going to do a lot more as council president. And I just feel like North Royalton gets Paul to itself.
Yeah, not fair.
Which is unfair to the rest of us.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
At least for us, which is all we care about.
Right. True. Anyway, good luck, Paul.
Speaking of Carl Mayersh,
yes,
Carl started trying to do shit on Village Block, saying that we were trying to badmouth Village Block, and I had to shut that right down.
I didn't read that.
And I said to him, Carl,
come on, Carl.
We did not say anything bad about Village Block. We said there are shit stirs on Village Block.
That is true. There are shit
Village
stirs.
Block, the group, is a healthy, productive group.
Yeah. So calm down, everyone.
So calm down. We don't want the Village Block torturers coming to the podcast.
Yeah.
Or we do. Come and be a guest.
Yeah.
Yeah, so then we can move on to binging. What have you been binging? What's going on?
Well, yesterday, my good friend Tiffany and I watched this. It's not something to binge on. A movie called 8th Grade. Have you seen it?
I haven't, but I know that it's gotten some great reviews.
It's fascinating.
Is it?
Yeah, it's fascinating. And I'm not going to say a lot about it because I want you to watch it. I want you to watch it, Molly, because I think you'd appreciate it. As you watch it, you keep thinking that it's going to have this sort of formulaic, like weird stuff's going to happen in it. And instead, it is the most accurate depiction of the anxiety that you feel as an 8th grader. Like I felt transformed. I felt like I was transported back to 8th grade, and I felt that same just angst.
So it's interesting that you say that. So you are saying that as an Alex Gertzberg 8th grader many years ago, and because this is a current film, about a current 8th grader, right?
It will make you feel like
there are still similarities in anxiety.
It's been updated, right? Because there's stuff in there like cell phones that you and I didn't have.
No,
definitely not you, but just kidding.
I did have one in my CRX.
No, it has really hilarious moments in it, but I can't remember the last time I watched a movie that synced up with the way I felt on an emotional level in that time in my life.
Funny. I'm gonna definitely watch
it.
And you're an influencer because according to our notes, our editor John watched
that's what did he say? No, we can't remember. What was it, John?
I had it all teed up, John. Fargo.
Fargo.
He watched Fargo, so you're an influencer.
Well, that was the last thing that I binged, like a season at a time of.
Gotcha.
Yeah, I can't think of anything that I've binged in terms of like multiple episodes. Oh, that's not true. I'll tell you what I'm binging.
Don't you lie.
Dude, I'm going to tell you right now what I've been binging like crazy is
You're binging it hard.
Dude, I'm binging it like it's nobody's business. Conan O'Brien. Have you ever watched any Conan?
Like his show, or is he have something else?
Go on YouTube, right? And just start watching Conan clips and then just watch all the stuff that they recommend afterwards. He's got, what is that guy's name? There's this dude on there that it's his producer. And
oh, yes, his little sidekick guy.
The two of them are the most hilarious pair. Anyway, I've been binging Conan. I cannot stop watching it. Are these just like funny episodes, or is it his show where he's interviewing people? It's nothing. It's clips that they
little segments or funnies that they do. Yeah.
Yes,
okay.
That's what it is.
So it's not segments. The interview part. It's all the fun things that he does on his show. Okay.
Correct. Here, let me find the dude's name. Oh, Jordan. Jordan Schlansky.
Oh, my God.
Yeah, that's him right there.
Oh, wait, that's him?
That's Conan and that's Jordan.
Okay,
right?
So I wasn't thinking him. I was thinking the guy that announces on his shows.
Oh, that's Andy Richter, and he's hilarious, too.
Okay.
No, I have been binging what you see here on YouTube. So I literally just typed Conan and then clicked on videos, and everything that came up is...
Is he getting a lot of work done? Is that... I feel like his
Jordan
face.
Schlansky?
No, I feel Conan's face is very plastic.
Yeah, he's always looked that bony.
Okay, I'm gonna watch some of those. I like funnies.
God.
Look at that, 5 million views.
This one's 14 million right here.
That's crazy.
It is the fun. This one's 18 million. Jeez,
that is crazy.
I have been watching Conan segments with Jordan Schlansky.
I love that. Okay, I'm
nonstop.
into it. I'm into it. I love the non-committal
hilarious
about it. I love that.
I was in Chicago last week, and my plane was delayed coming back, and I'm sitting there in O'Hare with the headphones in watching this, and I'm laughing out loud and spitting food out and like doubling over. My sides are hurting. That's what I'm binging. What are you binging?
So I just watched the FyreFestival.
FyreFestival.
Did you watch that?
I watched the Netflix one.
Okay.
Did you watch the Hulu one?
Okay, that's good. The
Netflix
I highly
one
suggest that you watch the Netflix one first, which kind of goes through the whole thing.
That's crazy.
And then the Hulu one is him being interviewed after the fact.
Billy, right?
Correct.
Yeah.
So yeah, is that crazy?
It's mind blowing.
And now people have to, and I don't know if it said it in the Netflix, but now influencers have to hashtag
They got sued. All the women, all the models got sued.
If I'm doing this right now and saying I'm drinking a Bud Light, if I'm being paid for that, in the past, before FyreFestival, they could just say whatever they wanted. And I'm drinking a Bud Light. I love it. It's amazing. Even if Bud Light's paying me. Now, if Bud Light is paying me on social media, you'll see hashtag advertising, hashtag sponsor. That all came from the FyreFestival lawsuit.
So when I was watching the Netflix version, every time they cut to like these really rich kids that went there,
oh my god,
I was like, you know what? I'm so glad you guys.
Well, that came out of it. That people were happy that
like those guys were just such
people
D-bags,
problems. Yeah,
you know.
Yeah.
And I felt it's like Schadenfreude. I felt bad that I was feeling bad, or that I was feeling good about them getting screwed over.
But did you feel that Billy? I felt like he had a good intent. Like I don't think he ever tried to necessarily scam anybody. I feel like he just got way too far into it.
Yeah.
And he wasn't going to give up the fact of hosting it. He was hosting it regardless. But I think it wasn't like he was taking money and pocketing it. He was taking money and it was going into the festival.
So I think there should be a case study about him in like business schools, because here's what it is. He was under such tremendous pressure from people who were giving him money, right? And he had to make it work. I think he reached a point where he stopped caring about his own reputation to the world,
right?
And started instead caring about the fact that he had people that gave him a ton of money, and he just kind of mentally switched logic off and said, somehow this is going to work.
When they were filling those wristbands up so he could get a whole nother wave of money, I was like, are you people fucking out of your mind?
Yeah, they were dropping like 10 grand for like for stupid things.
To swim with dolphins or, you know, I mean, crazy. And if you watch them, they all had wristbands on when they were coming off the plane.
But the other really interesting thing about that, as I was watching it, was how it was this growing group of respectable people, like professionals, right, that were just like, no, we're pot committed now. We're like, we're in this, and we got to go. There was a small handful of people that were like, nope, I'm out of here.
Right? How about the guy that was going to give a blowjob to get the water into the, because he didn't pay.
Right.
Whatever. Oh my gosh. Yeah. And he said and he looked like a very respectable, and he's like, never in my years would I think, but I was going to do it for him.
Right.
So he just, there are people that have that where people just buy into it.
Yeah.
They just, they get sucked into the, and how about that?
No pun intended.
That the guy the football player that was he a football player? Like his sidekick, I forget what his name was. He was with them the whole time. He was the partner.
I don't remember the football player.
I think he was a football player. He was someone famous. And
oh, no, he was a rapper.
A rapper.
Ja Rule.
Well, yes. Well, in the Hulu video, he throws Billy under the bus.
Oh, does he really?
Oh, yes. He's on some talk show. It's I highly recommend it.
It is a lesson in like mass psychology too, because people got manic about it. There was definitely a mania that was taking hold, and everybody was getting sucked into it because they had to believe it was going to work.
Yeah, and the fact that social media created this and then took it down.
Yes,
is amazing to me.
Yeah.
In one, they said that picture of that cheese sandwich.
That they
said,
right.
Oh, here's the gourmet dinners that you're getting.
I felt really bad for the local people who got screwed over.
I know.
Right?
I know.
Like that one lady was like, I don't even like to talk about it.
I know.
I lost my life savings giving away free food.
Yeah.
Like everything my restaurant had.
Yeah.
I will watch the Hulu one.
Yeah, it's good because it's him. And you'll get a little bit more feel about him, because the Netflix will make you think, oh, you did it. But the Hulu definitely shows him to be a psycho. I mean, he's...
Well, it's interesting. So I get legal newsletters all the time. And just this morning, he got hit with another $3 million default judgment. But he's doing time, isn't he? He got 6 years in prison for securities fraud.
I think he was going. Yeah.
What else are you binging?
I watched the Studio 54 documentary. Great.
Was it good?
Documentary. Yes.
Interesting.
Again, they got in big trouble, and I didn't realize that they were only open for 16 months.
Oh, is that right?
Yeah, it wasn't long, and they were making millions. They were making boatloads, but skimming and not paying taxes. That'll do it.
Wait, let's pause on that for a second.
Yeah.
So I just have to shake my head sometimes at things like FyreFestival, things like Studio 54, things like Hollywood in general, where it's who you know, where it's who you can stand next to, and
that was all Studio 54 was. I mean, that's all it was.
But the thing of it is, it's like, I feel like when our society devolves into just anarchy and chaos and everything comes crumbling down, right? And then they rebuild us, right? The next, empire, they are going to look back on our culture and be like, these people were paying, $200,000 to go to a stupid festival just because some supermodel hashtagged it.
Yeah.
And they went to Studio 54 just because they heard that I don't know, Burt Reynolds was going to be there or something like that. And all of Hollywood, you go to any restaurant near Hollywood, right? And your waiter, there's a good chance that your waiter was born in Missouri and went there on a pipe dream that they might be in the right place at the right time when Brad Pitt might come into their restaurant.
City too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the celebrity culture that is constantly being built up, and it's on TV all the time still.
There was a video of the door and how they would run it. And there was there were hundreds of people waiting to get in. And obviously they cleared the way when, Diana Ross or Michael Jackson were coming in. But then it was just, you're pretty. Yeah, you can come in. You're ugly. You're never coming in. I like that dress. You can come. I mean, there was no, they weren't hiding it whatsoever. It was, you know what? You're too fat. Go away. You're bald. We don't want. It was crazy, but a good one. It's a good one. And then I just got caught up with Shameless. I fell back in love with Shameless, which I love. And I think I'm trying to break up with cable. I just got the Hulu Live. But here's the thing. Do you have Hulu Live? Do you have cable?
I don't need anything live. You really like live stuff. No, but I don't.
I don't need live.
I only stream stuff on Netflix, Hulu, and YouTube now.
Okay, so I went with the Hulu Live. That's more for sports, for John. Okay, so I was just ready this week. I wanted to go a week to make sure, Yeah. Well, last night I was watching the Grammys, and my picture was extremely pixely. Little boxes.
'Cause it's all internet. Yeah.
So then I went to cable.
Yeah, right.
To see
it was clear as day.
It was.
I know.
So now I'm scared again.
Yeah. You run into that problem periodically.
So it's just a periodic thing.
Yeah, most of the time I cut the cable cord 2 years ago, and I have to tell you.
But it's like $80 though, according to, I'm not going to shout out their name because I don't like them. I don't want to give them any. But according to my cable company, when I break up with them and I just stick with internet and Wi-Fi, it's going to be $79.
BS. You're paying call it $12 a month for Netflix. You're paying.
Right, but I'm talking about you still have to have Wi-Fi in your house.
Yeah.
So for your internet and Wi-Fi only, it's going to be $79.99.
I don't know if it's that much. I think it can be a lot less now. But yeah, if you want a good Wi-Fi for your computer at home, for your phones at home,
especially when you're streaming like this, because that probably helps with some of the pixelizing.
But you know what? I think that the cable monopoly needs to go.
Oh my gosh,
period.
It does. Yeah. I'm going to break up.
And there's a lot more choices that you get with YouTube, Hulu, and Netflix.
Yeah, no, that's all I'm watching. That's all I'm watching, and I've made sure I actually invested in smart TVs.
Yeah.
Pretty much, except in our bedroom, but I have a Fire Stick.
You're money.
So
you're good.
I'm breaking up. But that pixely thing made me a little nervous.
That doesn't happen very often.
Okay, but it was in the Grammys. So
I'm with you.
That's important.
Well, that's the thing is
TV.
you definitely watch
my award
live
shows
stuff.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Sports definitely.
You'll be all right. Don't worry about it.
I'll be right. Okay. Okay. Is it time?
Yeah. I mean,
I do have an event that I want to give a shout out to if I must. I will be hosting at Shed. Shed is a store here in Chagrin Falls.
Okay.
It is called Soulful Story Night.
Ooh.
And it is on February 21st, next week, yes, from 7 to 8 o'clock. Mm-hmm. And it is an opportunity for you to it's an open mic. It is a no readings, no poetry, no theme, no judging evening. You come with a story.
Is that right?
Men and women, open mic, 5 minutes. Stories should be inspirational or funny, life lessons, whatever you want. It's free and refreshments are available.
What day is that?
That will be February 21st.
Dude, I'm going to
go. From, what did I say? 7 to 8. I will be hosting, and we're going to have a fun time. So bring your story. From 7 to 8 o'clock. Shed is located at 27 North Main Street in Chagrin Falls downtown. You can go to shedchagrin.com for any refreshments will be served. Talk, listen, and eat.
That's a great idea.
Isn't that fun?
Yeah, I'm going to go. I'm going to tell a story.
I'm honored to be hosting that.
If I want to tell a story, do I have to sign up in advance?
You know what? That I don't know. I don't think you do. But I will look into that and find out. But super excited.
That sounds awesome.
Emailed me and I of course said I love Michelle Adams and Hallie. I've known Hallie since high school. They're the owners over there, so it's gonna be fun. So spread the word. Yeah.
Molly, I hate to say goodbye because this has been so much fun.
So much fun. Anything going on that you'd like to shout out? I mean, there's always something going on. Obviously,
I can talk about. There's
Damn
a lot.
you, Stephen King! Damn you!
No. There's a lot going on at my firm, but it's all client related. I mean, we've had a couple of really good, nice wins recently.
Do you celebrate? Is there something special you do?
We start every meeting by going around the table with wins, what your wins are, and we keep a really good running list of it. And do we celebrate it? We try. Not.
Well, you do your hooky days and stuff like that.
Yeah, we do that.
Can I come to one of those meetings?
Yeah. Okay. No. And then we'll be waiving attorney-client privilege.
That's true.
I mean, if you can come to the meeting and sit outside until we're done talking about client stuff.
I just want to come for the wins.
We'd have to bleep out the client names.
That's true. True.
Folks, if you've listened this far, then you like us. You really like Molly, especially,
like
clearly. And so what you need to do now is write a neat little review about us on iTunes, and you want to hit subscribe in there and on like us on Facebook and what else? YouTube. Go to
Spotify.
Thebest.Podcast.Ever.com. You can subscribe there.
Stitcher. There's
so many ways to listen.
We're
in your head.
We're like a disease.
We are like a disease.
We're everywhere.
We're a bladder
and
disease.
Spreading. Oh my gosh, this has been so much fun. Sometimes we don't know if someone's canceling, but since we marked the time off, this was wonderful that we spent it together. So thank you, Alex Kurtz.
Thank you, Molly Gebler, and may the rest of your week be sensational.
Oh, yours as well.
Thank you, folks. We will see you next time.
See ya.